everybody, and welcome to the first episode in a brand new series, Neon Stories at Night. I am your host, Shuddering Serpent. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for coming to hang out for about 30 minutes, where we'll be talking on the topic of human evolution through inventions, where we will go through the lower Paleolithic, the middle, same thing, upper, same thing, Neolithic and late Mesolithic times, and so on and so forth. Basically, we'll be going through and through of the inventions in history, talking about some of my favorite, talking about how weird it is, how cool it is, and that's going to be the topic for today. Make sure you go grab some snacks, some ramen, a Coke maybe, and yeah, so just thank you for being here in general. Please stick around. I hope you will be here and stick here with me. Before we begin, I do have a few updates for the channel. This is how things are pretty much going to go on this playlist so far. One, we hit 43 subscribers, which is amazing, so thank you guys so much. Getting a lot more likes on the videos, between like 3 and 5, which is great. I know it's not a lot to you guys, but it's special to me, so thank you. But yeah, so the theme for today is basically inventions throughout modern and thousands of years ago history, human history. Before we do begin, though, I also just want to say, since this is the first episode, there are going to be problems with it. And as I've said before, this video is a lo-fi playlist video. That's how this entire playlist will be, which means there will be probably background noise, there will probably be interruptions, certain things like that. I'm not really going to edit these videos. They're pretty much just going to upload straight to YouTube as if they were live. I might be able to do these live, no promises though. And yeah, we're just going to be hanging out, laid back, chilled out. So make sure you grab a blanket, drop your heat a little bit, and just sit down and listen to the video. Because if you were to watch it, nothing would show up, as this is the only background you will see. It's just going to be my voice, so hopefully you are either listening to this at night, or maybe while you're going for a jog in the morning, making breakfast, making some food, something, doing homework, I don't know. But I'd recommend just connecting some headphones and listening maybe before you go to sleep. Nice voice track there, by the way. Yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, there's gonna be some history in here. And this isn't really how every episode is gonna go. It's not gonna be, you know, a lesson on history. It's just, I thought this would be an interesting topic. And before we do begin, I'm sorry it's taking so long, but please comment down below other topics you want me to do. I'm highly interested and focused on what you guys want. So please comment down below. I could really use the feedback. You guys have been great with that so far, so thank you. But yeah, let's get right into it, guys. So basically, what I have here on the wiki is, I can't believe I just said that. What I have on Wikipedia is list of inventions going from, let's see, 9,000 BC, all the way up to modern times, present day. Now, depending on what you believe, whether you're Christian, which I know most of you, including me, is, there really is no 9,000 BC, because according to the Bible, which I do believe in, the Earth is only about 6,000 years old, so it's only about 4,000 BC. But, you know, different beliefs, I can understand that. So, I'm not going to go through everything. I just want to do the past, about 300 years. So we're going to skip all the way up to about, let's see here, let's see. The 1600s. How about that? Personally, I do not know much about, many, inventions throughout the years. As it says here, the telescope was invented in 1608, which I did not know. I would really expect that to be invented in early 1800s, but apparently not, and that is amazing. So, you know, we're learning stuff already, at least I am. So, again, guys, there's going to be interruptions in this video. Hopefully not, but there will be. There's already some audio stuff going on here, but you know, that's what happens sometimes. So, just lay back. We're going to take this nice and slowly. We're going to be chill about it. Now, turn on your neon lights if you want, and just hang out with me. Eat some Doritos and stuff like that. Now, you won't see this, what I'm looking at, because I'm not recording it. But, like I said, connect some headphones and listen to what, I have to say about it, because that's why you're here, right? So, beginning in 1605, the 17th century, newspaper, Johann Carolus in Strasbourg, Holy Roman Empire of the German nation, invented newspaper, which I did not know. I would also expect that to be invented in late 1700s, because I can't imagine what they would be printing back then, you know. The king dead, his son is now king, oh my gosh. But, yeah. So, I guess that works. And of course, in 1608, like I just said, the telescope, patent applied for by Hans Lippershey in the Netherlands. Actual inventor unknown, since it seemed to be already a common item offered by the spectacle makers in the Netherlands. Jacobedius also applied for patent, and the son of Zacharias Johnson, making a claim 47 years later that his father invented it. I'm not going to read these through and through, I'm going to skip a few. I really just pick out ones that I think are interesting, and we're going to really see what we think about them, I guess. This should be pretty interesting to see how this goes, and I'm excited about it. Of course, this is the pilot episode of the playlist, so again, there are going to be different issues and problems, as this is being uploaded directly to YouTube after I record it. But anyways, moving on. In 1650, the vacuum pump invented by Otto von Guericke. I also want to do some research on these, so I'm going to, real quick guys, just type in the vacuum pump, because I don't know what that is. And I have never heard of it before. I'm very curious. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it's one of these things. Vacuum pump. What is a vacuum pump used for? Let's see. Excuse me. Simply put, vacuum pumps are mechanical devices that enable the removal of air and gas molecules from a sealed area to create an area devoid of air and/or gas. Generally, the purpose is to clean and seal things. That is very interesting. I used to have one of these, my family used to have one of these. I don't know what happened to it, it just looks very familiar. Personally for me, I think that is really weird how that was invented so early on. Something like that I wouldn't expect to be needed. But, you know, I guess they did, so that's pretty cool. This one's interesting. The pendulum clock, invented by Christian Huygens. It was first conceptualized in 1637 by Galilei, but was unable to create a working model. Yeah, that's weird. I'm gonna skip ahead up to the 1800s. And the reason why this is so interesting to me is I've been looking up stuff that, like, my mom had back in her day, or my dad, or my grandparents, and I'm surprised at what I've been finding. Like, it's something I've discovered on Disney Plus, too, just different streaming apps. It's funny. It's like how old the movies are. Like, I saw a movie on Disney Plus the other day from 1929, or maybe it wasn't Disney Plus, it's just somewhere. I saw a movie from 1929, and it was like, whoa. And of course it was black and white, but it was like, my great-grandparents saw that movie, which is weird, and it actually looks like a decent movie. And it's just one of the scenes where it's like, well, I've never seen a movie that old. It'd be interesting to watch. But, yeah, so, beginning in the 1700s, actually in 1709, Bartholomew Cristofori, perhaps the first piano, which is something I really expected to be invented before a vacuum sealer, vacuum pump, which is weird, because you really wouldn't expect a vacuum pump to be invented until early 1900s for things that you would expect it to be needed for. And then in 1709, Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit invents the alcohol thermometer, which, if you don't know what that is, it's just a normal thermometer. I guess Fahrenheit is named after him. Makes sense. Didn't know that either. Let's get me up to the 1740s. Benjamin Franklin invents the Franklin stove. Interesting. And then Musselbach and Priest independently developed the Leyden jar, an early form of capacitor. Very interesting. Cool. Let's get me up to the 1750s. Benjamin Franklin. Yes, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, guys. His name is Franklin Franklin. He invents the lightning rod, which is an invention I still don't understand why it was invented. You know, of course, it was meant to direct lightning, but also, if you're directing lightning from something, why can't it just strike somewhere else? So it's interesting to me. William Cullen, in 1755, invents the first artificial refrigeration machine. Interesting. You know, that's something I didn't know they had back then. I thought refrigerators weren't invented until our late 1700s and early 1800s. I did not know that. So it's just weird to think that they had something like that back then. You know, it's just, cause it's not something that you kind of look up every day. Hey, did they have refrigerators back then? You know, and learning it now, it's like, whoa, they had stuff back then? Seems like you could have actually survived back then, you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't have refrigeration back then, you might say, oh, that would have been really hard to do stuff. But now seeing that they did, it's like, oh, that would make life a lot easier, so, you know, I really wouldn't mind living back then. And I've been looking at different inventions they had in the early 1800s, and I used to think I'd never want to live back then. Never, never, never. And now seeing the inventions they had, it's like, oh, I really wouldn't mind living back then. And that's the same with early 1900s, is, I'm now learning, like, they had so many inventions that we have today, and, you know, I can't really name a few, but I just know from games and research that they had some pretty modern inventions back then that you wouldn't expect them to have, and it gives you sort of like a pleasant idea that, hey, I could actually live back then, you know. Personally, I wouldn't want to, but I really wouldn't mind. If I had to choose between the future and 1920s, I would choose 1920s. I think that, especially in a video game that I will mention later on in a new episode, different episode, I played in the early 1900s, and it was a phenomenal game. But it was phenomenal what you had to do, and just, it was great. You felt like so drawn in that you actually were living in the 1920s. And of course, playing the video game, it's like, oh yeah, we're actually in 2022, you know, modern times. But playing that game made me realize, like, I wouldn't actually mind living back then. And I kind of almost want to, in a way. You know, it seems like a fun time. I almost have to think, most of the time, that people were bored back then, you know? Bored. It says right here, John Wilkinson invents the boring machine, considered by some to be the first machine tool. Interesting, I'm assuming that's the drill or something. But, you know, I just expect them, like, oh, what'd they have to do back then? Like, were they working all day? But no, me playing that game, you know, there was music there, and of course I knew that, but I never really realized, you know, music back then was really fun, so it's just interesting to learn about that stuff, and to see, if you could survive back then. And that's something I also want you guys to comment down below, is what era would you want to live in? Would it be the beginning of Earth? Would it be like, 1700s? Would it be in the future? Would it be 1800s, 1500s? 4000 BC? Like, that's interesting. It also interests me what other people think about that. So make sure you comment that down below right now, and make sure to also comment down below more topic ideas. Now, let's skip ahead a little bit to the 1800s, where things get interesting. And one thing I've noticed, and me and my dad both agree on this, is when really America was founded and people started like moving here, that's when inventions really like started picking up. And it's interesting. It's like maybe because we had more freedom, or maybe more resources, or maybe just different ideas, because you had to invent things now in America instead of back in England or wherever country they were from. It's really interesting. So in 1800, Alexandria Volta invents the voltaic pile, an early form of battery in Italy, based on previous works by Luigi. It's Luigi Galvani. And that's interesting too. Like a battery in the 1800s, I didn't know that existed. I wouldn't have expected that to existed. Like really until 1920s or something. It's amazing to discover that. It's sort of like, whoa, I never knew that existed. They must have really had a lot of neat things to do with that. Humphrey Davy in 1802 invents the arc lamp. Exact date unclear, not practical as a light source until the invention of efficient electric generators. Now, this is another thing that's interesting, is imagine what people could do with today's technology with their IQ. Like, of course, Elon Musk and some of his people are inventing amazing machines, but imagine what Leonardo da Vinci, or Benjamin Franklin, or Nikola Tesla, or Albert Einstein could do with today's technology. Like, it's almost amazing to think about. I'm sure they would be overwhelmed with it, but it's just really interesting to think about. And that's something that I don't think we'll ever get again, is someone like that, because excuse me, we have kind of dumbed down a little bit in recent times, because of like phones, electronics, laptops, and of course we need that stuff. We can't really get rid of it now because of satellites and things like that, but we've slowly dumbed down ourselves to nothing that we have ever been like before, and it's just interesting. It's like, where would we be today if we hadn't invented phones or something like that? Excuse me. Got my cool blue Gatorade. What you got, guys? Comment down below what you got for a snack. I've gotten a snack. If you didn't get a snack, he'll come out of your closet and he'll grab you, okay? Just because this isn't Terrifying Tuesday doesn't mean he won't come out, okay? He can turn invisible and he will grab you by your foot and he will pull you under. I am telling you right now. So grab a snack. That's a Flamin' Hot Cheetos right here. Toss you some through the screen. Alright, enough of that funny business. In 1804, Richard Trevithick invents the steam locomotive, which I don't know what that is. Honestly, I'm just excited to know this little backstory on this stuff, but it's not. Okay, moving on to 1810s, guys. 1810, it was Albert invents the canning process. Another thing I didn't know was a thing, because you really don't see books from like either 1800s or books about the 1800s that include, oh, he ate apples from cans or something, so you wouldn't really know unless you specifically look it up. You wouldn't know. Of course, I haven't seen anything like that, and if you have, then cool, but it's just something that is almost not intriguing in the way that it is just very overly interesting to hear that someone invented the canning process for food as early as the 1810s. again, something I wouldn't have expected to be invented until 1930s or something like that. And of course, that makes life a lot easier back then. But also, it's another thing that slowly dumbed down humans, is now we don't have to hunt for stuff as much, or do stuff as much, and of course, that makes life simpler and easier, but, what does that mean for our health? Because, of course, not all canned food, if not all canned food, is not good for you, as much as fresh food is. And, of course, the convenience of it is a lot easier, but it's still very intriguing and interesting to wonder where would we be today without today's inventions. And that's another episode I'd like to do, another topic that I can focus on. Comment down below if you'd be interested in that or not. But it's just something very cool and very intriguing to me, especially because I love history. It's just very cool. 1814, interesting name here, James Fox. Sounds very similar to Jamie Foxx. Invents the modern flame machine. Though Matthew Murray of Leeds and Richard Roberts of Manchester have also been credited at times with this invention. That is another thing I want. Oh, they do have a picture. Oh my gosh, they had something this entire time. Okay, a planner is a type of metalworking machine tool that uses linear relative motion between the workpiece and the single-point cutting tool to cut the workpiece. A planner is similar to a shaper, but larger and with the workpiece moving, whereas in a shaper the cutting tool moves. I guess it cuts out shapes of wood, is what it looks like here. Very interesting. And that's another thing is, according to this, Matthew Murray of Leeds and Richard Roberts of Manchester have also been credited at times for its invention. And something where it's like, because they didn't have phones, so how they communicate, hey, I invented this, make sure you patent it. And I'm pretty sure they patent either machine or company, or just, in general, the patent was a thing back then. I'm positive about it. But 1816, Francis Reynolds built the first working electric telegraph using electrostatic beams. Now, the electric telegraph is something that I've always been interested in. It was a point-to-point text messaging system used from the 1840s until the late 20th century, when it was solely replaced by other telecommunication systems. The sending station switches connected a source of current to the telegraph wires. Interesting. I still don't understand how stuff like that works. Like, I still don't understand how phones work, really. And I really haven't taken the time to look at it, but it's just one of those things where, hey, it exists, it works, so I don't really have to know how it works for it to work. You know, like I used to know how medicine worked, and I was like, oh, I mean, it works, so why not just not know how it works? But now I do. And it's very interesting how it does work. And it would be really interesting to learn how these things work. You know, I still don't understand how modern technology works. I just don't think much people really have a full understanding of it, other than the people who, of course, do understand it. But it's still intriguing and interesting to me. Moving on to the 1820s, in 1828, Patrick Bell invents the reaping machine. The reaping machine is a farm implement for a person that reaps crops at harvest when they are ripe. So it's like a little automatic field reaper, plant reaper machine. Very interesting. Something I also didn't expect to be invented back then. Hungarian physicist. Hey, would you like an African tutor? Would you like an African tutor? Because I can speak. Moving on. 1830, Edwin Budding invents the lawnmower. I do know what this looks like. I knew how it works. A lawnmower is a machine utilizing one or more revolving blades of grass surface to an even height. Everyone knows what a lawnmower is. If you don't, then what is actually wrong with you? I knew that was invented early on. I'm so surprised by it. Very interesting. Michael Faraday in 1831 invents a method of electromagnetic induction. It would be independently invented by Joseph Henry the following year. Interesting. And what is electromagnetic electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic or magnetic induction is the production of an electromotive force across an electric conductor in a changing magnetic field. Again, I do not understand or even want to fully understand how this stuff works. It really breaks my brain. But yeah, moving on. In 1834, Moritz von Jacobi, a German-born Russian, invents the first practical electric motor. Interesting. That's cool. Didn't know that. Kind of mixed on where that was invented, but I'm definitely learning a lot here. Very cool. Excuse me. Water break, or Cool Gatorade break, or Coke break, whatever you got. Whoa, thank God you can't smell breath through a screen. Alright, moving on. We're gonna skip up to the, let's get to the 1900s, yes, 1900s. Alright, okay. In 1900, the first Zeppelin is designed by Theodore Kober. Zeppelin, what is that? Oh, it's one, oh, that's what okay. It's that Zeppelin is a type of rigid airship named after the German inventor Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin, who pioneered rigid airship development at the beginning of the 20th century. So it's one of those really long things that nobody uses anymore because they burn down if they touch even a spark. Okay, 1901. The first motorized cleaner using suction, a powered vacuum cleaner, is patented. See, they did have patents, I knew it. Independently by British engineer Herbert Cecil Booth and American inventor David T. Kenny. Of course, everyone knows what a vacuum cleaner is. I didn't know that was invented back then, 1901. Still such an early invention that is just still baffles me that they were able to invent it. And of course, I don't think they were dumb. I just, expect them not to be able to do that without today's technology. And that's another thing that has dumbed down humans, is we now rely on technology. Like, I wouldn't know half the stuff I know, now if it wasn't for Google and modern, sites like that, like Wikipedia. Of course I would know, like, math and stuff like that, but, I wouldn't know how electronics work without, things like Google, and that's the stuff I rely on. I look up a lot of things whenever I have a question, so I have learned a lot, and I wouldn't be able to do that unless I got a book, or my parents knew back then. And something that I also have a hard time thinking is how curious the kids must have been back then. Because if their parents didn't know if they couldn't find a book on it, and it hadn't been either invented or discovered yet, how would someone ask, how does, I don't know, the moon revolve around the sun? Like, how big is our Milky Way? How big is stuff like that? I don't know. Just simple questions like that must have baffled kids' mind back then. Whereas today, I could just look it up right now. I could look up how big is our Milky Way, and I would get it in less than 0.5 seconds. And that's something that we also rely on. Okay, moving on to the 1910s. In 1911, cloud chamber, the first particle detector, is invented by Charles Thomson Rees Wilson. Damn, these people had very long names. Holy actual crap, bro. 1912, the first commercial slot cars, or more accurately, model electric racing cars. Electric racing cars, really? Operating under constant power made by Lionel USA and appeared in their catalogs in 1912. They drew power from a toy train rail sunk in a trough. Is that how you say that? Trough that was connected to a battery? Interesting. I didn't know they had racing cars back then either. Very cool. Boston Elevated Railway, first use of articulated trams. What is a Boston Elevated Railway? The Boston Elevated Railway, BERY for short, was a streetcar and rapid transit railroad operated on, above, and below the streets of Boston, Massachusetts, and surrounding. Wait, no, that's not it. Massachusetts and the surrounding communities. Founded in 1894, eventually acquired to the West End Street Railway or something. Interesting. Something I also did not know. Probably my favorite era. I'm trying to think. Yep, I'd say it's probably my favorite era is the 1920s, 1930s. But 1925, the Fisher Trop process is developed by Franz Fisher and Hans Serpent. I really can't pronounce these names. The Institute for Quantenforschung. Now, what is this? The Fisher process is a collection of chemical reactions that convert the mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen or water gas into liquid hydrocarbons. These reactions occur in the presence of metal catalysts. Interesting. I still don't understand or know what that means. Cool. In 1926, Robert H. Goddard launches the first liquid-fueled rockets. Interesting. I forgot that was a thing. Also, very cool that was invented in 1926. Wow. Just wow, that's all I can say about that. Moving up to 1928, Philo Farnsworth demonstrates the first practice of electronic television to the press. Cool. Picture that? Yeah. Television, sometimes shortened to TV or telly, is a telecommunication medium used for transmitting moving images in black and white or in color, and in 2 or 3 dimensions and sound. The term can refer to a television set, a television show, or the medium of television transmission. Interesting. Again, something I would not have expected to be developed until early 1930s, but again, very cool. 1929, the ball screw is invented by Earl J.G. Ball. Now, what is that ball screw? It's a mechanical linear actuator that translates rotational motor. Oh, so it's a lock. I think that's what that is. Yeah, it doesn't give me much information. Alright, moving up to late 1930s. 1938 December, nuclear fission discovered an experiment by Otto Hahn. Nazi Germany, coined by Wes Meitner, fled to Sweden from Nazi-occupied Austria, and Fritz Strassmann to Sweden. The Manhattan Project, and consequently the Soviet atomic bomb project, were begun based on this research, as well as the German nuclear energy project, although the latter one declined as the physicists were drafted into Germany's war effort. Cool. Moving on to 1940s, guys. Alright. Almost done, guys. Sad to leave, but everything's gotta come to an end. Or does it? 1941, polyester is invented by British scientists John Winfield and James Dickinson. Polyester is a category of polymers that contain the ester functional group in every repeat unit of their main chain. As a specific material, it most commonly refers to a type called polyethylene terephthalate. Again, something that is interesting. It's like, how did they invent the vacuum cleaner before polyester? It's interesting to me. I would expect polyester to be one of the earliest inventions, but no, it's one of the most modern inventions, at least in this era here in the 1940s. So, very interesting. Moving on to 1960s, one of my favorite eras, if not my favorite eras. The first functioning laser is invented by Theodore Mayman. The laser is a device that emits light through a process of optical amplification based on the stimulated emission of electromagnetic radiation. Cool. Lasers. Okay, the first electronic cigarette is created by Herbert A. Gilbert. Holnick is often credited with its invention as he developed the modern electronic cigarette and was the first to commercialize it. Now it's like a vape pen or something. It is. Okay, cool. Well, not really cool, but just interesting. Alright, moving on to 1980s, probably my third favorite era. Flash memory, both NOR and NAND types. It is invented in Japan by Fujio Masuka while working for Toshiba. It is formally introduced to the public in 1984. Cool. That's what what I'm recording this video to, so that's cool. Alright, moving on to later 1980s. Right, the first laptop computers launched in 1982. Very cool, the Epson HX20. Cool. A laptop computer or notebook computer is a small portable personal computer / PC with a screen and numeric keyboard. Laptops typically have a clamshell form factor with the screen mounted on the inside of the upper lid and keyboard on the inside of the lower lid. Interesting. Again, something I expect to be invented a little bit earlier, in time, probably around 1970s. But again, I'm glad it was invented, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. And again, something that's also interesting is, what if that wasn't invented? What would I be recording this video on? Because I'm sure something would have taken its place. I'm sure instead of a computer, it would have been like a bigger phone or something. Or maybe the iPad would have sufficed for a laptop. Who knows? Or would the laptop have been invented by someone else? And if so, and what would it look like today? What would it look like today? Alright. 1983, DNA profiling is pioneered by Jeffrey Glassberg and Sir Alec Jeffreys. Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Wow, Sir Alec Jeffreys. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, guys. You shall call me Sir. Thank you. It's not Shuddering Serpent, it's Shuddering Sir Alec. Thank you very much. You can go down the comments and say, hello, Sir Alec. Yeah, he'll do that right now. Or he'll get you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can wait. Okay? Wait. 1995, DVD is an optical disc storage format invented and developed. Really? 1995 is the first DVD? Cool. So Bluetooth was invented before the DVD. Isn't that weird? Like, I feel like the DVD is such an easy thing, even though I still don't completely understand it. Would be an easy thing to invent back then with their technology they had. But I would expect Bluetooth not to be invented until early 2000s. It's crazy. Alright. Moving on to 2008, the year I was born. Actually, no. 1998, the first portable MP3 player was released by Seihan Information Systems. Now, an MP3 player is almost like a modern, or not modern, 80s iPod Touch, where you basically could download and play music on it, and it was pretty cool. 2000, Sony develops the first prototypes for the Blu-ray optical disc format. This is the first prototype player was released in 2004. Okay, so we got a Blu-ray optical disc format. I never really wondered when that was invented. In 2007, Apple releases the original iPhone, while not the first smartphone, it did popularize the touchscreen focused format. Interesting. 2007. Cool. That's cool. Alright, 2008, the year I was born, Satoshi Nakamoto develops the first blockchain. What is a blockchain? A blockchain is a growing list of records called blocks that are linked together using cryptography. I can't pronounce anything, bro. What the? Gosh, even that sounds better than the way I'm pronouncing stuff. My god. The first solar cell-based spacecraft, Icaros, is launched by Japan. Of course, it was launched by Japan. Japan invented everything. Icaros is... Oh, I remember learning about this. Icaros is Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, known as JAXA. Experimental spacecraft. The spacecraft was launched on 20th of May, 2010. Aboard an IIA rocket, together with the... Stop! Moving. With the Akutsuki probe and 4 other small spacecraft. Cool, I guess. I mean, I've heard of it. I remember the picture of the Icaros from a shuttle, but I didn't really know what it was. Alright, 2019, IBM launches IBM Q System 1, its first integrated quantum computing system for commercial use. Cool. And of course, now we're getting to modern times. 2020, the first RNA vaccine to be approved by the FDA is co-developed by Pfizer and BioNTech for COVID-19. Well, that is where that leaves that off. Doesn't seem like anyone's really invented anything since 2020. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up for that little segment of the episode. I only have about a few minutes left to record. So, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up, guys. Thank you for joining me in this first episode of Beyond Stories at Night with your host, Shuddering Serpent. Next time, we'll be doing something different. Probably not the same way I did this. I can see this as being a little bit boring. But, thank you for hanging out here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your nights. Hope you get a good night's sleep. And I hope to see you next time in a later video, or next time in a new episode. So again, comment down below different topic ideas you want me to try. But thank you. If I had to choose a favorite era, I'd say middle of 1920s, then I'd say 1960s, then 1980s, and then where we are now is pretty much fine with me. Comment down below your favorite era, and let me know what you'd like to see next. So, thank you guys again so much for watching. Before we do go though, I do have a small fun fact about inventions for you guys, which I want to do every episode, like a fun fact about the topic. So, fun fact of the day, Leonardo da Vinci never built the inventions he designed. The paperclip was actually invented by Norwegian Johan Valor. The household wrench was invented by boxing heavyweight champion Jack Johnson in 1922. Stilts were invented by French shepherds who needed a way to get around in wet marshes. Interesting. Cool, so that's what stilts were made for. I was kind of wondering that. But anyways, we got some best inventions in the last few, last 20 years with Wi-Fi, smartphones, online banking, online search, example Google, online shopping, example Amazon, stem cell technology, GPS, and flat screen TVs. I can agree with all of that. Yeah, so comment down below your favorite invention, really ever. It could be something like the bow, or it could be Wi-Fi. But if I had to pick one, I would really have to say vehicles, like cars, electric bikes, things like that. I think those are great. Yeah, so that's pretty much gonna wrap up, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good night's sleep. Get some sleep, guys, and have a good day at school tomorrow. I will see you in the next episode.